Angela?
Angela was the prophetess.
Who the fuck is Angela?
All right, let's do this. Hello, fantasy fans, and welcome to Swords and Satire, the podcast where we turn low fantasy into high art. I'm your dungeon manager, Jamie Mokel. My pronouns are he and him, and I am here with my draconic co-hosts.
Oh, shit. Well, my name is Cassidy. I go by they, them, for them, their pronouns. And, I am an elf not appearing in this film.
Oh, I feel like there are no elves that appear in this film, so that's fitting.
You know, it's discrimination. They wrote us out, and,
I think they edited you out.
Yeah. Wasn't there that, I thought the elf queen was in this. Elf princess.
Yes, and what made her elven?
Well, elves have pointy ears, right?
I am told.
that is a gross stereotype.
Oh, no.
I guess she did not have pointy ears.
I guess the podcast is finally being canceled, guys.
Yeah.
This is just the way things are. Anyway. But who are you?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh!
Me?
No, not you. You already said.
You're
I
the dungeon manager, Jamie Mokel.
That's true. And my pronouns are he and him.
That's right. But my name is Jack Olander. My pronouns are she and her.
Ooh.
And I'm a traveling cheese merchant.
Ah,
I've got a carriage full of cheese.
That sounds like a good life.
nice slice of cheese character.
That's right. Just don't ask me to cut the cheese.
Cheese whiz, mister.
Also, I don't have to worry about dragon riders, but dragonborn tend to really go through my stock really quickly.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Yeah, they're freaking sneaking around, stealing the wheels of cheese.
Eating an entire wheel of cheese in one click.
Exactly.
They just never poop, I guess.
Yeah, they really missed the opportunity in Skyrim to let your character crap.
Crap their pants.
That's right.
I remember the first time I played Fallout 3, and, you know, when you go to the bathroom and there's toilets, you have the use option. And in Fallout, you know, it's post-apocalyptic world without water.
Right.
So you drink the toilet water, and I was just like, wait, what is happening?
You know, Borderlands is the game where I think I could see them letting you crap your pants, but they haven't yet been brave enough to put it in there. But
there's a pant pooping joke in Borderlands, I'm pretty sure.
But you can't actively do it while you're playing. And
There's no button for it.
I think if they're brave enough to do this in the next game, I'm calling them out.
Brave enough. You hear that, Gearbox?
Yeah.
If you're brave enough
You
to
don't
let
have-
characters shit their pants.
You don't have the rectum to put it in your
It
next
should
game.
be like a character that can do this in battle to, like, cause enemies to run away from you.
So, Cass, are you telling me that your favorite game of all time is Castle Crashers?
Yes. Well, not favorite, but it's fun.
Because of the part, of course, where all the animals are shitting themselves when the big monster is, like, clomping through the forest.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And the bear, like, comes out of the trees, and then you hear the rumbling, and then you see brown splattering all up behind him.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there's the deer that, like, propel poops itself across the screen.
Those are the two that I remember as well.
Those are the deer that you ride in that, like, chase scene.
That's
and
right.
they're going fast enough because they're shitting themselves along.
That's right. I do not believe they are running. I think they're just rocket propelled.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, guys, welcome to Castle Crashers Talk. Dungeon Manager works for that, too.
That makes sense. But all of this to say, my fantasy cheesemonger business is called the Cheese Wheel of Time,
Ooh.
blockage.
I was going to say, very fitting.
Yeah. That's good.
All right. Well, as you can probably tell by now,
Yeah, you.
this week, your beloved satirists are going to be talking about Eragon.
Eragon.
Not Aragorn,
Which is what you and Jack keep saying.
which is the, of course, best character from The Lord of the Rings. But
It's Eragon.
Controversial.
not Aragorn.
Ermagerd, it's Ergon.
Eragon, which is naturally based on a book.
Where have the dragon riders gone?
That is a question we will potentially answer in the next hour or so.
Yes.
That sounds like a song that they would have in World.
Where have the dragon riders gone?
Yeah.
That's pretty good, actually. I wish more fantasy movies did world building like that.
Yeah.
Because it works great in the Elder Scrolls when you get to hear songs about the Dragonborn coming.
Yes.
I know, it's true. It's very compelling.
Or in the Witcher video games, where there's just a song about how Geralt and Yennefer have this long-term romance.
See, bards or minstrels are great for fantasy storytelling. We got one in the newer Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yeah.
And that
That's
was
right.
great.
But how would you feel if you walked into a bar and somebody was just singing a song about you? That'd be a little awkward.
I know everyone knows about your will they, won't they relationship and all your dirty laundry. It's like, hey, come on, man.
I mean, and there's another Elder Scrolls connection here. Because, they sing the Dragonborn comes, which I already mentioned.
Yeah.
You're the Dragonborn who has come.
You came.
Exactly. He has risen.
And then
He has risen indeed.
And then there he went.
So as you can tell, we're really excited to talk about Eragon. Because we keep getting distracted and talking about other things. But let's cover some of the basic details and then maybe jump into a summary here.
Sounds good.
So this film was directed by Stefan Fangmeyer, and it stars
You made that up.
Ed Spielers, Jeremy Irons returning,
Yes.
Sienna Gilroy, and Robert Carlyle.
You're Sienna Gilroy? I'm not Sienna.
Also, Rachel Weisz plays the dragon Saphira.
Thank you. And maybe most importantly, and also least importantly, John Malkovich. Is John Malkovich making his Swords and Satire debut with this movie?
I think so. No! He was in Warm Bodies.
Thank you. I was like, I feel like we've watched something with him for the show.
Robert Carlyle is as Durza is this is the first time he's in one of our movies.
That's a little surprising, but probably just because I primarily know him besides from the Full Monty,
Yeah.
from that very cheesy but kind of fun show Ever After or whatever.
Once
Happily
upon
Ever
a
After?
time.
Whatever.
It's this.
Practically the same thing.
It's the bookends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, guys, why don't we summarize this film and then jump into a conversation about
Okay,
it?
fine.
All right, so here's your summary for Eragon. So there's this farm boy, right? And he's waiting for a bearded master to teach him the old ways so that he can bestow upon him a blue weapon that will be used to strike down the evil empire that is tormenting the people.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about Star Wars today, Jamie.
I was talking about Eragon.
Oh, right.
Wait. Let's start over.
Yeah, you're right. So there's this guy named Eragon, right? And he's a little boy. And
I like to call him Strider.
and basically the evil empire wants to take him down because he's a new dragon rider and they're trying to exterminate all those guys.
Yike.
Because they're powerful, and Galbatorix,
I like to call him John Malkovich.
which is a totally normal name, by the way.
No notes.
Don't know why you'd think it was weird.
It's no weirder than Malkovich.
He's the evil dictator, and he wants to control everyone. And so dragon riders kind of get in the way of that, you know? So they kind of harsh his vibe. And so he thinks a new dragon rider in the lands would be totally cringe. And so he sends out his lieutenant and minions to go dispatch of them.
Yeah, his black-pilled Lieutenant Durza. This dude is so disgusting, his fingernail can kill you.
It's true. We've seen him do it multiple times. But, so, they go after Eragon, and by then, though, the dragon egg hatched, and the new dragon Saphira went from a baby to an adult in about 20 seconds. In movie and as a viewer. And, they can, Eragon and Saphira can telepathically speak with one another.
Oh.
And she forces him to flee against his will. And
Yeah, but it's probably a good idea.
yeah, his uncle is killed. Luckily, his,
Oh, let's see, the farm boy's uncle is killed, you
Yeah.
say.
luckily, his cousin had left beforehand because he thought, like, that little town was too quaint and he wanted to see the world.
And also, he didn't want to be recruited into the military.
Oh, right.
Based.
That's a good point. So yeah, his farm is in shambles and it's actually on fire, so he can't really go back there.
I didn't know that his farm was in California.
Yeah,
It was.
he didn't start the fire.
No, the evil empire did.
No, Brahm did.
Oh,
So,
yeah, that's right. He just wanted to get... Oh, that's right. Doesn't he burn the house down because Eragon's like, well, I gotta bury my uncle, and Brahms is like, fuck it, we'll just have a cremation.
He yeeted that house.
A king's funeral, he says.
Yeah, he dabbed on him hard. He's like, fuck you and your feelings. We're going on the road now. And so he wants to take him to the Varden stronghold. And so they set out on a journey.
To the Rebel Alliance, the Varden stronghold.
And in order to get to the Varden stronghold, they need a training montage.
Exactly.
And I thought you were going to say a train and that I missed something really cool in this movie.
A sick dragon train heist.
Oh, shit.
That would be cool.
But
Wait, let's just talk about this movie.
yeah, well,
No. We have to summarize what we saw.
it doesn't exist yet. But there is a training montage. However, there's a little bit of frustration as there is not a lot of trust between Brahm and Eragon. Yeah.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
Eragon.
And so Eragon isn't so sold on this idea of going to find the Varden. He doesn't really care too much about bringing down the evil empire other than what else is there to do. However, he finds something else to do.
He finds his own mission.
That's right, because in his dreams, there is a heteronormative romance he is forced into.
Yeah, he's running blindfolded into that thing.
That's right. He is told in his dreams by a not elven maiden, I'm trapped in a castle, come save me. And so he decides he's gonna do that thing.
So the princess tells Eragon that he has to save her.
That's right.
The farm boy.
Yes.
Ah, yes, right. Ah.
It would have only been more on the nose if she had sent the message to Brahm.
Right.
That's
Help
right.
me, Brahm. You're my only hope.
That's right. But Eragon shows up to save the day, but the mission goes bad. But the mission goes good.
And the princess is like, aren't you a little short for a soldier?
Yeah, Brahm is kind of like mortally wounded.
Brahm gets mortally wounded.
So the farm boy's mentor is killed,
Sacrificing himself.
sacrificing himself to help the farm boy achieve his ends. Does he come back as some kind of ghost?
No. In fact, he gets put in a glass coffin so everyone can see him decay.
No.
Close enough.
But an ally was made along the way.
Yeah, he actually first showed his face when they were trying to escape the castle.
Murtaugh.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. A suave, roguelike ally with an uncertain set of alliances shows up to help the farm boy and build a little bit of romantic tension.
With the farm boy, though.
Well, yeah.
That's right.
It's Han Solo and Luke Skywalker, guys.
That's right. They eventually find their way to the Varden.
Death Star,
Varden strongholds. In which point, Murtaugh has to be arrested for having more chemistry with the main character than the romantic interest.
True.
Yeah.
That's a arrestable offense in a movie.
So,
Especially one from 2006.
that's right. So he's taken away.
Can't have any of that.
Nope.
No character chemistry is allowed in this film.
That's right.
So, finally at the stronghold, Durza shows up to try to kill Eragon, the last dragon rider.
And he kind of has like the king's army with him and stuff.
Yeah, but that is so background to this movie. It might as well have just been a matte painting of like armies fighting each other.
In fact, I believe it probably was.
No, there was CGI.
It was hand puppets in the background.
So Durza and Eragon have like a dragon battle.
Durza just sounds so much like a Ligma joke waiting to happen.
Durza balls.
Yeah, exactly.
They have a sky battle fight on their dragons. Durza has like a shadow smoke dragon. I don't know. It's very strange.
He was so jealous that Eragon,
God.
Had a cool dragon.
yeah, that he had to create one for his own out of shadow. I was like, dude, you can't just make shit up that you're a dragon rider and have people believe you. That is so
He's like,
lame.
oh yeah, you want to ride a dragon? Well, watch this.
It's like, no, that's not real, man.
They also recruit the allyship of the dwarf king Hrothgar, who is, you know, like a dwarf. He's tall, broad,
Except,
average human height.
just, glossing over the fact that he's a dwarf.
Dwarves are broad.
They are broad.
Eragon, does defeat Durza, but he, flies
He
at him.
overcomes Durza.
He flies at him in the sky, sword first, because he was launched by, Saphira's tail, and he just, flies at him with the sword.
Dude, so Saphira and Eragon have this combo move where she whips him with her tail and they make the fucking shot of the century, hitting a moving human-sized target at 30 miles per hour, launching him like a fucking spear.
Right through the heart.
I'm just like, all right, I mean, that was your one gambit, was you either kill Durza or you just completely plow into a stone cliff face and die. Those are your two options.
Yeah.
And, oh no, Eragon is badly wounded. Is he going to survive? Yes, he does. Oh, Saphira was also wounded in the battle. Does she survive? Yes, absolutely she does.
Yeah, because we forgot to mention Eragon has magic.
Yeah. Saphira's throat is perforated by Durza's shadow dragon with holes the size of 3 humans huddled together. And then she's just fine from Eragon's magic.
He heals her with his own strength. Of
Yes.
will, I guess.
And then the movie ends with a shot of King John Malkovich getting pissed off, slicing down his banner that was on his wall like a banner map, and revealing the dragon that was very patiently waiting behind
Yeah.
his map on the wall. And then I guess we'll be talking about the sequel next week.
Or never, because they never were able to make it happen.
Oh.
But there are whispers of a series reboot to come.
Whispers. Rumors of rumors.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, I think we can probably head into the delve. By which I mean we can order our pizza. Welcome to the Delve, where we venture deep into the themes, scenes, and lore of Eragon.
We got our pizza ordered, so we're free to talk.
That's how podcasts get made. You record an intro, pause to order a pizza, order the pizza, come back, you finish the episode. That's how every single podcast gets made.
A pizza baked in dragon's breath,
Oh.
Ooh, that sounds way overcooked.
where the grease melts directly into the crust.
Okay, now it sounds pretty good.
I think saying fat melts into it sounds way more appealing than grease melts into it.
Yeah, I guess so.
I would say so.
But anyway, talking about the movie.
Do we gotta?
There was a lot it had going for it, right? But there
Absolutely.
was also something kind of weird about the pacing, and I was like trying to figure it out while we were watching it. And
It's like I've seen this before in a different, better movie.
Yeah, there's that. But also
or in a series of different, better movies.
And that's saying something, because those are all pretty flawed, too. We're talking about Star Wars, for anybody who doesn't realize.
Or The Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Which this movie also borrows heavily from.
But what I was kind of realizing, what kind of hurt this was the pacing, and it was kind of all in the character development and, character relationships, and how those all seemed pretty rushed.
Absolutely. This movie is trying to be an epic fantasy film in an hour and 40 minutes. You just can't do both.
Well, it's based on a book series, and their intention was to make a series of films. So they were trying to set up the whole series with this one, but it doesn't do a very good job of that either.
Yeah, they're trying. Unfortunately, the problem is, at the end of the day, this is a young adult series. Not that that is a problem. It's a problem that they try to make it epic and not just lean into, this is going to be a fun romp for kids. Right? That's a totally commendable and appropriate goal, to make a fun movie for kids. They should have just done that.
Honestly, it would have felt less rushed if they had ended on them getting to the stronghold and building up tension that the army is coming after them.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like when they end on the cliffhanger like that, especially for a movie that has the dubious possibility of getting a sequel.
I'll say it felt really rushed, and to me it wasn't, because it was trying to be an epic film in such a short amount of time, because I think of a few examples where an epic storyline can be told in 20 minutes, and namely the thing that comes to mind is Samurai Jack.
Sure.
Where barely any dialogue is needed for a 20-minute episode to feel completely epic.
Yeah.
With multiple story beats.
The problem with this movie is that it is primarily just expository dialogue.
Exactly right.
They try to do too much. They don't show enough.
No.
Of the character building or relationship building. They try to, use exposition to rush that process along, and it really makes the whole project suffer.
Yeah.
So how that looks is the characters kind of yelling at each other, and then rushing along on their path, and then kind of talking to each other a little too openly about their past and what their motivations are, and it's not very realistic dialogue.
Can't you tell that I'm motivated by my incredible poverty that makes me do desperate things when I need to survive?
And that is used as the stand-in for them bonding. For instance, Eragon and Brahm, who's supposed to be his mentor figure.
Right.
They meet 3 times throughout the movie before Brahm becomes his mentor, and the implication is supposed to be that they've known each other for years because they live in the same small village. Just jump right into that. Don't try to set up Brahm with all these little moments of him being snarky at guards. That doesn't really tell us as viewers very much.
Yeah, except that he's kind of salty.
He's not scared of authority because he's been at the top of the ladder and now he's at the bottom.
Yeah, and we're going to display that by showing it 3 times and also by having him tell you that.
Yes.
Yeah. But the relationship between he and Eragon is just kind of established that oh, we've been through some trauma together, and then oh, you also used to be a dragon rider and you lost your dragon. Suddenly we're like, we have a tight bond. It's like, no. They do have one scene where he's teaching him how to use the weapon. Or no, how to fight with a sword by, like, using sticks.
Yeah, and he has to put the blast shield down.
Right.
But, it just isn't enough. They needed more of them kind of talking about what's important to them in their lives, or, showing more of them, like, helping each other on the road or something. Besides just shots of them riding their horses near each other. Like,
what, that's not bonding to you?
that wasn't enough. Like, we don't need... Half of the movie felt like it was establishing shots of people riding horses across the country.
Or dragons.
I kept constantly making the joke that Eragon would call people horse riders because he's a dragon rider.
See, the thing is, you can do this character building and, like, relationship building in a film in a much more subtle way that still explains everything that the audience needs to know. Let me pick a random movie, just any movie off the top of my head that I could use as an example of this. Let's say Star Wars: A New Hope.
Yes.
Just totally random idea. I don't know why I thought of this movie for this example. Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? What do we know about Obi-Wan Kenobi right away when we, like, find out about him? We don't see him being snarky at some guards or some stormtroopers. Luke is like, Obi-Wan Kenobi? Well, I've heard of Ben Kenobi. He's like an old hermit. Okay, boom. We've got, like, a picture of this character in our head. Luke meets him. It's kind of mysterious. We introduce him. He knows stuff about Luke's father. We don't need to, like, have all these little moments, like, establishing him throughout, like, these moments in the film to, like, build the character up. We can just fill in the blanks. This movie is terrified of letting the audience fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
It won't do it. It won't allow it.
I just wish they had traded out a few of the establishing shots of them riding horses across the country. Like, we get it after, like, 3 or 4.
Yes.
To establish, like, oh, there's a small skirmish on the road, like, small stakes stuff, and they help each other.
Yeah.
I mean, they do show, like, this one caravan getting totally owned by a band of brigands that they don't even help them for. That was terrible. Like,
damn.
Show somebody getting robbed and they help them or something.
Listen,
like,
Cass, some people just skip the side quests.
I guess so. Or, like, they go hunting together and he, like, will teach him part of, like, being one with nature to be a better dragon rider or something. Fuck.
It's just all a bunch of kind of ridiculous, like, terminology, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to the relationship between he and the elf lady,
I'm assuming you mean Eragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eragon and the not elf,
Princess Arya,
who is not an elf in the movie, but is in the books. Yeah. It's just, from the second they interact with each other in the dreamscape, it's so clear that it's gonna be a romantic thread. And it's like my heart just sank the second I saw that they were gonna be, like, coupled up. I'm like, please, no.
There's nothing there.
There's no basis why they'd be attracted to each other except that they think each other is hot.
And there's, like, no time to tell that story, and they really don't even try.
No.
He clearly has a better chemistry with Murtaugh. The actors,
of course, you would say that,
feel
Cass.
like they actually like each other and want to be around each other.
They are, like, kind of, like,
flirty,
teasy and flirty the second they meet. Murtaugh shows up, saves Aragorn with an arrow, and, like, quips at him, is just like, aren't you glad I was here to save your back? Right? It's like, whoa.
We were, while watching the film, quoting the Fast and the Furious, I almost had you. You never had me.
Yeah, exactly. That every time they're on screen together, the chemistry is so good because they, like, there's, like, a sort of competitive nature there, but they obviously see each other as like comrades.
Yeah, there's a dynamic.
This was one of the few relationships that I actually felt was kind of believable.
Yeah.
And that they established like pretty well.
And when it's revealed that Murtaugh is related to like a traitor of the Varden,
right?
Eragon is like, hey, hold on, that's my buddy. That's my best friend, my roommate you're talking about.
My cousin even.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We're like family. We just like share an apartment together and like, share all of our meals and
hold hands.
Yeah, just normal friend stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Eragon tries to defend Murtaugh and like get him off from being put in jail. But
he tries to do
yeah, later I think he like during the battle he saves Murtaugh and then they're like, we're even.
Yeah.
But even then they're being kind of flirty and like smiling at each other. I was like, this is great. Like in my headcanon, they're the real love interests.
That's why he got arrested. Their chemistry was too much better than the heteronormative couple.
Now, I want to be fair to this movie a little bit. Because it's based on a book, right?
Yeah.
Now, what would you guys say if I told you that this book was published by a 19-year-old?
Yeah, it tracks.
I think like it tracks, yeah.
Like, in that framing, it's kind of impressive.
Yeah.
Just like,
totally.
You think about like a young author, they started writing when he was like 15. I respect it.
Yeah.
But you can, when making the movie version, branch out beyond the source material, right?
Yeah.
And this is something I was talking about with one of our friends after watching the movie, which is that in the 80s, when books were being adapted in the films, they didn't try to like really slavishly stick to the text. Like Cass and I recently watched The Running Man.
Yeah.
Which is a very fun Schwarzenegger romp based on a bleak Richard Bachman, that's actually Stephen King, novel that's like super dystopian. And the movie's dystopian, but like it's an Arnold action movie, but it fucking works. The book is great and it's totally different and it's like grim and dark and the movie works and it's fun and light and kind of over the top. And I think that's okay. Like, I know you're going to get the internet people who are like, oh, but it's not like exactly shot for shot, like page for page from my favorite movie. But you don't have to do that. It's a new medium. Like different stories or the same story can be told differently through different mediums. And I think that's okay.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think that adaptations of books need to slavishly stick to the text. I just think like you want to like make sure you hit major story beats and probably don't change the characters too much. But I mean, there's a lot of room for creative interpretation there, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it is a good opportunity when adapting something to make some interesting changes, like the film adaptation.
True.
Which takes many liberties with the source material.
Rightly so, I think. I think that's the whole point, which is great. But you know, a relationship that is well established?
I mean, I know several.
Well, I'm talking about for something personally here, and that's our relationship with our patrons.
Oh, wow. It's a very intimate relationship.
Do tell us about the patron relationship.
Well, we have a Patreon account at patreon.com/swordsandsatire, and on there, we have patrons who have opted in to give us some donations every month.
Some donations?
To help us keep the show going, and in exchange, they get some cool bonus episodes and art.
It's a pretty sweet deal if you think about it.
Yeah. And so if you want to join that community, you can, like I said, head over to patreon.com/swordsandsatire and give us a couple bucks every month to help us keep the show going.
Yeah, we'd really appreciate it if you did.
That's fire, sir.
That's fire, sir. Fucking fire, sir.
But anyway, back to talking about relationships in Eragon.
I believe one notable relationship, dynamic even.
Noteworthy even.
Yes, prominent in the movie. A dragon and their rider.
Yes.
The most important relationship imaginable.
The one that is designed to be at the center of the narrative.
That's right.
Now, you see, dragons in this world are a sort of spirit. You see?
Okay.
They have an egg.
Yes.
And when they are in egg form, it is assumed that their spirit is aging.
Right.
Saphira, in egg form, has been waiting to find Eragon. And
she's just waiting for her egg to crack.
that's right. She's only like a week old.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, she's been waiting for you for 1,000 years.
What the fuck?
And maybe that means she's been an egg for 1,000 years, but the way they talk about her implies that, like, on some metaphysical level, she has been accumulating wisdom, has already had, like, the ideals of what sort of person they want to serve in mind, so that when Eragon gets the egg, Saphira's, like, spirit is like, oh, that's my guy, and then hatches because she's ready to work with him.
Yeah, they talk about how the dragon will stay in the egg until they know they're with their rider, and then they'll hatch, yeah.
That's right.
It's the type of relationship that can literally only exist in fiction.
Exactly. So when Saphira hatches, she mutilates the shit out of Eragon's hand while he's sleeping.
True.
By giving him a little spiral mark. Sorry, she brands her cattle.
Jeez, well, she had a dragon.
Yes.
But there was some cringe stuff about their relationship that we noticed.
Yes. So let's just look at the benefits for both parties when it comes to being a dragon or being a rider.
Okay.
When you are a dragon rider,
you get a fucking sweet dragon.
You get a fucking sweet ass dragon.
Yeah.
Benefit.
They're
That's
bonded
right.
to you.
Pro.
They are here to serve you.
Don't like that.
You get to fly around on them. They give you their life source as a source of magic. So you can cast magic using your own life source, but you also use theirs.
So when Eragon saves Saphira in the end using his life magic, he's also using her life magic, but then nothing bad happens to either one of them.
Well, you see, they both fall unconscious for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So
consequences.
And then Eragon's boyfriend wakes him up.
Yeah, off screen they healed them.
That's right.
It's the best way to survive in a movie, I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
So the writer gets a lot of benefits from having a dragon. What does the dragon get from having a rider?
They get the right to die if their rider ever dies.
Exactly.
Ooh.
When a dragon dies, the rider continues to live. And Brom says that
bromide.
When a dragon dies, you don't live much of a life after that.
You basically get like instant onset depression.
Yeah. Well, you're grieving a relationship that is so deep you can telepathically communicate, right? And your life forces are tied together.
Fair.
So it's kind of like your souls entwine.
Exactly. Effectively, this is like your soul mount.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But, so keep in mind, if the dragon dies, the rider is just grieving. They're left grieving.
Mm-hmm.
If the rider dies, the dragon dies.
Not a very equal relationship.
No.
They don't really explain why in the movie, but I kind of got the gist that, like, their emotions run so much deeper than humans that it's like they die instantly from heartbreak or something.
Oh, they're like Padme.
Oh, good. Another Star Wars connection.
Yes. And Durza D's Nuts is like, they say when you kill a dragon rider, the last thing they hear are the screams of their own dragon dying.
That's actually one of the more brutal and awesome lines in the movie.
Yes.
And he's like really giddy about it too.
Yeah, he thinks that's awesome.
Yeah, it's delivered with that iconic Robert Carlyle
twist the knife inflection.
Like evil laugh that is so creepy because it's like an evil Twitter.
Twitter or titter?
Titter.
He's titting.
Tittering.
And so there's just this strange dynamic because Eragon is 17. He really doesn't know a lot about the world. He is doing his best.
He's never left his village except to go to the woods.
Exactly. Yeah, no, Eragon he doesn't like suck. No. In a lot of ways, he's just like a teenager out of his element doing his best. But that being said, he makes a lot of mistakes, and Saphira's like 1,000-year-old wise dragon. And
she has to have a lot of patience for him.
He tells her to give him some advice.
Yeah, I know. Well, she's very proud and quick to anger. And so
same.
A lot of times Eragon will just be like, fuck off, Saphira, until I call for you.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
At least 2 times in the movie, he's like, why don't you buzz out of here? And then when I need you, then you can come help. It's like, yo, she has a say in this. If you die, she fucking dies.
Yeah, seriously.
He treats her like shit. He orders her around like she doesn't want to go to the keep to rescue the princess because she's worried they're both going to die. And it's true, like, they would have if Brahm didn't sacrifice himself to save them.
Yes.
And, he was, like, ordering her around. She's like, I think we're gonna die. I don't think we should go. And Eragon is like, well, you know what? I want to, so I'm ordering you to, and you can't say no to me.
The dragon-human relationships in this film are so troubling.
He's pretty abusive to her for a while, actually.
Effectively, yeah, no, he is. Effectively, I think what they are trying to get at is that dragons are like knights, right? They find, like a rider or like a king sort of thing where they have complete loyalty and belief in this individual. And that, to me, that has big Knight of the Round Table vibes, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
Or like a paladin. So the dragon waits to find, like, because it's a spirit in egg form. It waits to find a human spirit that
they can vibe with.
Yeah, they can vibe with, believe in hard enough to dedicate, to live and die for. And so that's when they hatch, and that's who they trust to dedicate their life and get fulfillment from serving. But it also feels a lot like slavery.
It really does. It really fucking does.
It feels like...
It absolutely is. That's why it feels like
it's like, oh, there's good slave masters and bad slave masters.
That is there, though. I mean...
The dragon riders will rise again.
It's true.
Fuck.
Also, dragon riders are they are historically at the top of the social ladder.
Yes.
And responsible for its destruction. And the only thing that can save people now.
It's like expecting billionaires in a capitalist economy to save everyone and have charity.
Well, Cass, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
My least favorite thing that people do. Because I noticed an interesting series of events in this movie that I'm going to kind of sum up with, if I could coin a phrase, I'm going to call it class struggle.
Oh, damn, I hear that music a-coming.
That came out of nowhere. Oh my God.
So, guys, what we've got here is a classic story of resistance against a tyrannical ruler, right?
Yeah.
We've got a king, Boo.
Hiss.
Thank you. In John Malkovich, who is like dominating the land. He's conscripting people. He's carrying people, having people carried off for speaking out against the king.
And we don't even know why he's building his army.
For evil deeds, guys. Come on.
Okay, sure.
Generic evil behavior.
He wants to shut down rebellion.
Yeah, he just wants to make sure that he's on top. There's a bunch of rebels all throughout the galaxy. I mean, the land.
Yeah.
And the emperor, I mean, the king, just wants to put a stop to it. So he sends his black-clad knight off to go fight against the farm boy in a battle that concludes in an air fight.
Right.
So a completely original idea.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am beginning to feel bad for how much I am comparing this movie to Star Wars with the context that I just gave, that it was written by a guy who was 19 at the time.
Honestly, it's impossible not to think about the first 3 movies that came out of Star Wars while you're watching Eragon, because it pulls so much from them.
It does. It does. It's trying really hard to be its own thing. It just is not succeeding.
Look, we know it's a power fantasy. You want to ride a dragon and have magic. It's sick as hell.
Yeah, I want to fly an X-Wing and use the I mean, what you said.
Okay. Would you rather fly an X-Wing and use the Force, or have a dragon and use elven magic? Put it in the comments below.
I don't think they have comments down below.
Force the comments.
So this is great, right? We've got resistance against the tyrannical leadership. We've got like classic stories of resistance and rebellion. We've got Braum, this snarky guy who's like, oh, the king can bite my butt. I think that's what Jeremy Irons says.
The king actually cried when he heard about that line.
It's also fun, just as an aside, to see Jeremy Irons as like the heroic guide when a few years earlier he played the evil sorcerer in the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yeah.
That's why he's so familiar.
And it's also funny to me.
He's also Scar.
Yes. And it's also funny to me that Ed Spieler was the protagonist in this movie, because I've mainly seen him in shows that I watch, and he's always like the bad guy or antagonist, and he's really good at that.
Right. Now, see, I just mentioned Scar, who is, of course, from the Lion King movie. And as you know, the Lion King exists in the Kingdom Hearts universe.
Yes.
That doesn't have any connection to this movie, because Scar is not in this movie, just Jeremy Irons.
Right.
Of course, that all being said, Disney is the company that is trying to reboot this series as a TV show.
So Sora can come to this universe with Goofy as a dragon.
It's because Disney is going to own everything.
It does seem like it.
And that's a class struggle.
And Disney, if you want to buy our podcast and support us, I mean, just hit us up.
If you want to silence our complaints about you forever.
We do talk about a lot of Disney movies.
Then fund us.
Yeah. I'll sell out. I need food badly.
But you can't have lasers and laughs. You can. Please purchase it from us.
We'll talk about I'll say nice things about Tron Legacy.
Nice.
A movie that Jack's dad told me must have been a punishment for some terrible thing he did in a past life. So, anyways, I'm on board, right? Of course, we've got peasants as like the main characters. They're rising up through oppression and everything, fighting against this evil dictatorship. And then what do we do? What do we do in the end? We go to Varden and we just continue this disgusting narrative of the good king.
Yeah, the benevolent ruler. Also, like, the benevolent elite class that has a resource nobody else can have, the Dragon Riders.
Right.
Who will use their power for good.
Of course they will.
Eragon has magic that nobody else can wield, except for Galbatorix.
Malkovich.
And a
Malkovich.
dragon that can just lay waste to an entire army, which they do during that battle with her dragon fire.
That's right. And just one person making all the moral decisions about who lives and who dies.
Absolute power is going to corrupt him.
No, but I wasn't even talking about Eragon. I was talking about the Dwarven King Hrothgar.
Yes.
Now, don't get me wrong. I love a good dwarf in fantasy fiction.
Yeah. Too bad it wasn't appearing in this film.
One problem is that this guy is less of a dwarf than the dwarves from The Hobbit.
Yes.
It's true. Oh, God.
So already said, but come on, a good king? Really? Really? Are we doing this?
I mean, Aragorn is playing that the exact same role.
Aragorn?
Yeah.
Well, Aragorn is...
Because Aragorn is like the original, like, benevolent king archetype that I talked about.
Yes, but Eragon is also playing a benevolent, absolute power wielder.
Yes.
Because what do the dragons really provide? They provide healing magic, yes. They're actually there to just kill anyone who's disrupting the peace.
They're just weapons of mass destruction that are inevitably going to be used against the little guy as soon as the next king becomes a tyrant.
Saphira is so excited at using her body for violence. She is psyched.
That's a good point.
Every time they fight, she's like, finally, the demon is released. It's like, oh God, what did you say?
You mean I can go sick house on them?
Yeah, exactly.
My dark passenger needs to have his day in the light.
Oh, jeez.
When you watch this movie, listener, you're just going to be blown away by all of her dialogue when they go into combat. She's like, oh, finally, I've been waiting for this.
I mean, I gotta say, it's fun to see, or at least to hear Raquel Wise in this role.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
She usually gets, like, really meek roles.
Oh, she killed it.
And all those people she also killed.
And she loved it. She laughed.
Live, laugh, kill.
Yes.
So the long and short of it is people are just stuck in these cycles, and it's hard for them to imagine a world that's any different.
That's true. It's too bad.
A world where the whims of fickle dragon riders and kings decide what, the entire culture is going to look like.
They just treat it like it's the natural order of things, and I don't think that it has to be.
Much like people treat capitalism IRL. And it's not true. Not true.
Not a natural order?
No.
Your Tesla's not a dragon, asshole.
That was... All right, well, on that note, I've got one question that I want to end this with. Is Eragon art?
Don't you mean Eragon?
Is Eragon art?
Calling it Eragon and Aragorn is like Kull and Krull. Those movies that we constantly mix up.
I still don't understand which one is which.
We have not watched Krull.
We've watched Kull the Conqueror.
I guess
Krull is the movie with the glaive that's actually like a spinny knife.
I guess we're watching that one for our anniversary later.
Probably.
In September.
Perhaps. But for now, Eragon is it art. I'll tell you what the real art in this movie is. It's Saphira goddamn.
Wow. Right?
That's true.
Right? I was expecting the most half-assed PS2 looking dragon
that we got in the first Dungeons and Dragons movie that Jeremy Irons was in.
Oh my God.
When did that one come out?
2001? So about 5 years. But technology, I mean, it was advancing. Saphira in this movie looks fantastic. I would put this dragon up against a lot of CGI today.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was thinking when we were watching it, I was like, this looks like it could have been made more recently.
It's true.
It does. They put a lot of work into making the dragon look good. And like, granted, this is a movie about a fucking dragon. The dragon's not like a side character. It's going to be appearing throughout the film. They nailed it.
I just want to say real quick, when she was still a baby,
They call them Wyrms.
The dynamic was between her and Eragon was really cute. She was almost like a puppy. And
she's adorable in her puppy mode.
Would have loved if we just got to luxuriate in that just a little bit longer to establish their bond a little bit more.
Instead of having her fly off screen and then fly back fully grown.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
It's true. She looks incredible.
She does.
2006. It's been years.
The model of the dragon feels like it has weight. It feels like she moves through the space. However that's done.
Yes.
It feels like they use some kind of stand-in for the dragon.
Yes, they do.
To give it like a sense of movement that
probably Andy Serkis.
I was thinking of probably Andy Serkis.
Yeah. Totally.
Benedict Cumberbatch did a pretty good job as Smaug.
The quality of her scales and the lighting on her body fit pretty well to the environments she was in too.
Yeah.
But also she felt like she took up space on screen, so probably like a surrogate in place really helps. And I just really got the sense that when she was touching something, I got a feeling like she could have been really there.
Yeah. Also, her personality, really sick. Like, you could fall, she's repulsive. No, she's awesome. You could really fall into the trap as a writer of being like, it's a dragon. Enough said, right?
Right.
She has personality where she's like proud. She's a properly proud character, which is cool.
And it really makes the whole plot where she's subservient to Eragon even worse.
I know, yeah. Because there's the lines where Brahm is like, oh, she's a young dragon. She can't really breathe flame yet. And she's like, yeah, lucky for you. And shit like that. Where it's just so cool that she knows she's a badass dragon.
Yeah.
And she's just rocking it.
Yeah.
She's proud. She's ready for a fight. And it's hot. So a hot dragon.
Because of fire breath.
Yes.
True.
I think that this movie is art. It's saying something. It's about fighting back against tyranny, but also about finding yourself and kind of believing in yourself.
Yeah, there's a strong sense of character relationships. I mean, so much so that I was kind of complaining about them, right? They spent so long trying to tell us that there's a character relationship without showing it, but they were building up to something.
Yeah.
I think this movie needed just a few more passes from some writers, and especially right now as we're going through a writer's strike, we really see the importance of having writers working on your films.
Honestly, the dynamic is all out of whack. Writers should be one of the most important people in any room.
Absolutely. And now here's the thing. Christopher Paolini, the author of the book, is really hands-on with his adaptations. He is involved with some of these movies. I don't know how involved he was with this one, but I guess he has some new stuff that's coming out based on his books that he is actually doing screenwriting for.
Oh, cool.
And I think he and his sister are doing it. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, for the most part, I found that is a strength for a project.
Yeah. And again, I'm going to give this movie a pretty big pass because it's based on a book written by a teenager.
When you put it that way, it seems like we said before, really impressive.
Yeah, it's derivative, sure. It's also fun. The series was popular with young people. Eragon got people reading, Yeah. It was at a time when fantasy was really blowing up for young readers. And this is one of those stories that really resonated with people.
If it captures your imagination and gets you to think more deeply, then what better definition of art is out there?
Yeah, absolutely. My biggest problem is that I see so much potential in this story that just doesn't get captured by the film.
Fingers crossed for the new series, if it's made.
Maybe.
I'm actually interested. You know what?
I'll watch anything with Saphira in it.
Nice. I'm also looking forward to the next movie we're going to talk about. So that'll be in 2 weeks. We're going to talk about Cloud Atlas for our movie for Pride Month, and I'm really looking forward to it. And in between that, we're going to have our skit on Eragon, too.
It's going to make you laugh. It's going to make you cry. It might even make you poop.
Poop your pants.
You know, I was going to say it might make you hungry, but now I don't know.
That's fair, too. It might do that. Maybe that's better. But hey, if you just can't get enough of our show until then, you can always hit us up on social media by following us at Swords and Satire on Facebook, Instagram, and social media platform deleted.
And like we mentioned before, we do have a Patreon account. So if you have the means and you'd like to support the show, you can head over to patreon.com/swords and satire and join our community.
We'd appreciate it if you did.
That's right. But if you don't have a few dragon eggs you've stolen from the king to send to your favorite podcasters, another way you can support our podcast is by heckin' telling people about it.
That's right.
We don't advertise, so word of mouth is pretty great for us. If you want to, you can tell your friends and family about us. And you could even listen together. And you know, what better way is there to enjoy your favorite art than with your favorite people?
You gotta share the love, you know?
Exactly.
And isn't that what it's all about?
Yeah.
No. The hokey pokey is what it's all about.
Your love is fat, and your loved ones are meat. And let your fat soak into their meat.
I mean, your loved ones probably are meat. I'll say that much.
That's right.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, Hail Crawl!